Do I really want to piss off the hardcore Christians? I'm gonna go for it. Society has a very interesting relationship with Christian theology. And if you don't believe in it or follow it in any capacity, it has become so ingrained in our country that you're more than likely aware of the most well-known stories, if only through cultural osmosis. David and Goliath, the Ten Commandments, crucifixion of Jesus, you get the idea. How good or bad this is certainly up for debate and not a topic we're going to get into here, so put down your pitchforks. As such, our popular culture has taken a liberal use of Christian theology, either by retelling the stories of the Bible with maybe a few new twists here and there, or using and repurposing religious iconography to tell a new story. Whether it's making Superman a Jesus allegory or the Winchesters fighting God himself, American culture seems to have a certain fascination with Christian theology, regardless of personal religious affiliation. But very few stories in pop culture have dared to alter one of the most well-known stories of the Bible in such a way to actively challenge the theology, and force you to look at it from an entirely different perspective. This is often because it tends to draw negative attention from the more dedicated members of the religion. I'm sure I'll see you in the comments. But if a creative team were to take that risk and succeed, they would not only expand our preconceived notions of these famous stories, but teach entirely new and difficult lessons that we wouldn't consider otherwise. Well, we have one such story today with a short indie book known simply as Judas, published by Boom Studios in 2018, written by Jeff Loveness with art by Jakub Rebelka. If you're watching this, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Our story stars our titular character Judas, one of the most infamous villains in the Bible, responsible for betraying Jesus to the chief priests for 30 silver pieces, and ultimately leading to the crucifixion. Judas, unable to live with the guilt of his betrayal, returns the silver and hangs himself. This is where our story begins, as Judas reflects on his life and the choices he made, wondering if they were his decisions at all. Did you know it would be me? From the beginning? Did you know all of it? Was that why you chose me? Was that the only reason you chose me? I tried so hard to believe, to be good. But you knew from the beginning. I never had a chance. These are his last thoughts before his body limply darkens in the shadows of a setting sun. His spirit then falls into the abyss, the place where all sinners are destined to dwell. His head wreathed with a black halo, his neck adorned with silver pieces. Judas quickly realizes where he is and tries to deny. He doesn't belong here. But then, a voice he's all too familiar with responds, "Yes, this was always your end. This was always your story." This causes Judas to reflect, particularly about his mother, a kind woman who believed in God and taught him to help people because there's always someone who needs you. A woman who ultimately died alone. Her death forced him to lead a cynical existence, helping who he could, but ultimately just surviving. That is, until he meets him, who simply asks him to follow. And follow he does, all the way into hell, where there inhabits demons and monsters straight out of the book of Ezekiel. He managed to avoid these demons, but as they pass, Judas's bitterness against Jesus only grows, lamenting on his time with him, how much he believed in him, until a voice told him otherwise, until a voice told him the truth. If you could heal the sick, why is the world so full of suffering? If you could feed the hungry, why does the world starve? If you could walk on water, why make a world where men drown? If you could conquer death, why did she die alone? I believed. I believed you were the Son of God. I believed you could change the world, but you chose not to. You chose to be this. And it wasn't enough. I wanted you to be better. And then he remembers that day, the day Judas did what he was born to do. At the Last Supper, Jesus signaled to him that he knew his plans. But that's not how Judas saw it.